Hi, I'm Evan Thornley, the Executive Chair at Longview. Every week we bring you a session called Buy of the Week, where we scan the entire Melbourne property market and look for properties that have exceptional investment potential. These are not properties that we're selling, they're sold by other real estate agents, but we're looking as an advisor to property investors to try and find the needle in the haystack, the really outstanding property investments that are out there in the marketplace that may not be obvious. This week our theme is developable land. Land that often has an existing dwelling on it, but where that's not the highest and best use of that valuable land, and it should be redeveloped to a higher density development to create significant wealth. Mark will take you through some practical examples of 4 properties that are on the market and help you find the hidden elements that make one of those properties a much more significant property investment opportunity than the others. But just before we get to that case study, I want to take you back to one of Longview's fundamental understandings of where property investors can be led astray by the real estate industry. This diagram shows 2 upside down triangles. 1, where all the money is made in property investment, and 2, where most people spend most of their time. You can see they're mismatched. So we find that most property investors' main involvement with real estate agencies is through the property management department and dealing with the very important issues at the bottom of that triangle. That's where the time gets spent on issues like what's the right rental price, how much are the management fees, and so on. No doubt important issues. But when you look at the left-hand side, you see where is the main driver of wealth creation, and that's in the capital growth. Did you buy the right property? Is it being put to its highest and best use? And then down to things like, have you financed the property the right way? So at Longview, while we absolutely take care of the details for you at the bottom of the triangle and do an incredible professional job with all of those details, we want to focus your time and attention on making a small number of good decisions that lead to long-term capital growth. Now I'll hand over to Mark.
We've selected Reservoir to focus on this week. It's a gentrifying family suburb, only 13 kilometres to the Melbourne CBD. It has a very quickly growing population of young couples as first home buyers and young families with one or perhaps a second child on the way. The new train station at Reservoir was opened in late 2019, making a huge difference to the pedestrian traffic and the road traffic around central Reservoir, making it a much easier district to shop and commute through. Now, the first 2 properties that we've selected are both general residential, Schedule 2. They're around 700 to 750 square metres each, and they're both priced about 9 to 950 square metres. These are very typical sites that are used for small to medium units. The third is an example where the developer has actually got the plans and permits in place to build 4 2-bedroom units, and they're asking a premium price for that. They're asking up to 1.17 million for a same size site, yet it has plans and permits to build the 4 units. You'll note on the 4th property, it's general residential 1 as opposed to 2. The difference being that you're only allowed to build on 50% of the site in residential 1 as opposed to 60% of the site in residential 2. However, being a bigger site, you actually end up with pretty much the same amount of buildable land space, in this case 445 square metres, as the other 3 properties. So what you end up there with is maybe the same number of units or the same amount of built form, but significantly more open space, backyards and front yards than you would with the other sites. And what's even better is this site's priced at a lower price, around 8 to 850 is the asking price. We've marked the 4 properties on the map here. They're all within 1.2 kilometres of Reservoir train station and shopping centre. However, the 2 northernmost properties are particularly convenient, just a couple of 100 metres from Ruthven Station, making those really handy addresses for commuting to the CBD. They're all walking distance to the shopping district, which makes it really important. It's important to note when considering the Reservoir market, the types of competing townhouses and units. In the last 12 months, 78 2-bedroom units have been advertised for sale in Reservoir. Half of that number of 3 and 4-bedroom townhouses, less than 10 4-bedroom townhouses have been advertised in the last 12 months, and yet the ones that have been advertised have sold for really, really strong sale prices. We believe that there's a market in Reservoir for younger families who are now wanting to upgrade from their smaller 2-bedroom units and buy larger 3 and 4 bedroom homes for their growing families. And yet developers seem very focused on building more and more 2-bedroom units. We think this market is somewhat overdone, and focusing on larger townhouses could be a better option for the Reservoir market. A great example of 3 and 4 bedroom townhouses in Reservoir are the sale results at 128 to 130 North Road. The developer there built 6 premium townhouses. They all sold for above $850. The highest one, in fact, sold for $885,000. We're recommending that with the 4th property, 4 Glasgow Avenue, we could do something similar, developing 3 large townhouses, all with really good big backyards, open plan living, possibly a second living zone upstairs, and at least 3 bedrooms, but 4 would be the preference. We're anticipating an average resale price of around mid-8s. The gross sale proceeds from 3 of these large townhouses would be around $2.55 million. And we've anticipated a net return after tax of approximately $450,000, which would represent a 20% return on your investment. That's assuming that the land can be bought for around $815,000, which is within the agent's quote range. $850 was the top of their range, and I think their quote price is quite accurate. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, please let me know. Or if you've got a block of land or you're considering buying a block of land for future development or land banking opportunities and you'd like to have a chat, please let me know.